Hi, everybody. JB back again with another episode in my Did You Ever Wonder series. This is episode 21, Fayetteville, Athens of the Ozarks, built on 7 hills. This originates from a conversation. Well, a lot of people have dealt with this topic before, but I was talking to Peggy Chenault, the museum manager for Headquarters House, the Washington County Historical Society. And I said, well, I'll give you my version of it. There are other versions, but anyway, so the Athens of the Ozarks, in my research anyway, shows that it was actually called Athens of Arkansas from about 1871 to about 1922. And I get that from actually a clipping that Charlie Allison had made, which I appreciate from the newspapers.com. That as early as 1871, we were calling ourselves Athens of Arkansas. And then from 22 on, it looks like we were Athens of the Ozarks. But anyway, it stems, of course, from the 7 hills. There's about 1,000,000 towns around the world that are built on 7 hills. Rome, Athens, many other towns. Anyway, so in the mid 1880s, what was called the Men's Business Club, which would develop into the Chamber of Commerce. I think the whole point was that it was a promotion for the town because it is a beautiful town. I joke about the 7 hills, but it's a beautiful town. We all know that. And they were doing a promotion, of course, comparing to those great towns around the world. And anyway, so this is I'm going to start with my little list, my own personal list of the 7 hills. And the first one is what I call Town Hill. It's the square and environs. As you know, if you've ever walked to the square from College or Rock or Center, you know that it's up on top of a hill. So I just call that Town Hill, the square and environs. Excuse me, my own naming convention there. Oh yeah, I'm going to mention something else just a second here. So the second hill then, so there's Town Square, number one. I'll put that number one. The second hill of the 7 is Mount Sequoia, originally called East Mountain. And there's a picture of a fairly recent one that I took looking at St. James Methodist Church and the projects up to the east side of East Mountain, or west side of East Mountain rather, Mount Sequoia. Anyway, it was renamed Mount Sequoia when the Methodist Assembly purchased the land up on top of the hill in 1922. I always tell everybody that the lady that named it, she believed that Sequoia, the great Cherokee syllabary creator, had actually camped up there. But I've read biographies. I cannot find any evidence whatsoever that Sequoia was in this. They were in the area somewhere, but no evidence he was here in Fayetteville at all. I can't find any. Anyway, so that's number 2, Mount Sequoia. And I wanted to mention this. I started to mention this a second ago. That our first real, what I consider, productive, reliable local historian, James H. Van Hoos, he said that the native people's term for the area of East Mountain was Prairie Hill. And he also implied that it also referred to the town square part. So I kind of like to include both of them at Prairie Hill. It's a beautiful name. You might remember the early descriptions of Fayetteville is that it was not so heavily forested as it is now. It was covered by long, tall grass, and there were signs of the buffalo had been through here by the tens of thousands. Van Hoos said in those days you could find a buffalo head, the skull laying about every quarter of a mile, you could find one. So anyway, that's Mount Sequoia and then the Prairie Hill. Then the third one is South Mountain, which is down there where the Fayetteville Country Club is. And I took this picture, or rather I got this picture from the Fayetteville Country Club. It's really beautiful up there, a nice view. Again, the early description of the town used the term denuded of trees. That is, that there was no trees on South Mountain, which strikes us as really odd today because we're so forested now. But apparently for a lot of the area, it was just tall grass at that time. So that's 3 of them. And then the fourth one is Mount Nord, which is a fancy way of saying North Mountain. And Mount Nord is, the wealthy palaces, I like to call them, that look down to the town square. The houses were up there. There's 5 of them. They're built between 1901 and 1925. I used to be able to tell you the names of all of them, but the one that's to the furthest to the west, right on Mock, is the Fulbright Home. So Mount Nord is number 4. And number 5 might be one that would be a debatable kind of thing, but it's called Red Hill, and it's up in the area towards North Street and the Veterans Administration Hospital, right above, on the way to Evelyn Hills, and that environment all around there. And here's a 1908 plat map I have for you that shows essentially the Red Hill area. Now, what's to me is doubly interesting about this area is that at that time, this was a small African American community in Fayetteville. That community was basically eliminated when they went through here. That College Avenue is now a Pollard. I believe it's now Pollard on this map. And the Fayetteville Springfield Road is College Avenue, north, 71B. And when they went through in the 27, I think it was, and fixed it, they kind of wiped out that neighborhood. And the Evans, you can't see these because I turned on the side for that, but this William Evans up here, E-V-I-N-S, and Susan Moore, those were Black families. And there's several others up in that area. So I think all these little houses, see the little squares and rectangles, I believe those are all Black families that lived there at the time. So that little community got wiped out, as so many poor neighborhoods have throughout time by roads coming in. So anyway, that's Red Hill. And a lot of people used to live there before the road was expanded and taken through there. Okay, so that was Red Hill. And number 6 on my list, I've loved this picture. It's from one of the old 1906 Razorback. Unfortunately, I got down there, I've forgotten 1906 Razorback. This on the right side here, this is Maple dirt road climbing the hill. Isn't that interesting? And I'm not Charlie Allison probably tell us what that building is. Maybe he will. Anyway, there's Old Main, of course, and this a beautiful picture. But anyway, this University Hill, McElroy's farm, Old Main's up there. And it kind of covers the whole area by the university. And if you go to the right here, down Leverett and along just below Leverett School, just below Garland, that hill that runs across there down to Leverett is called Rose Hill. And that's what I'm going to talk about this one. I'm going to talk about street names coming up a couple of videos. But it's Rose Hill, named after Professor Leverett's daughter. So that's the University Hill. That's number 6. And then yeah, I've got the right there. And then number 7, I'm including Markham Hill, West Mountain, which is just to the other side of the Razorback Stadium and Razorback Road. And a lot of you probably know right now that Lisa Orton and other friends of hers are trying really hard to save Markham Hill from a real big development that's going to go in there. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. There's an attempt being made to save that and hopefully make it into some sort of park or something of the sort that saves all that urban forest in there. So basically, that's my 7 hills of Fayetteville. And if you guys want to comment, so please tell me others that you have, but I'll mention a few more here as we go out here. So other nearby hills is Haskell Heights, that's south of Markham Hill, over there by MLK. And the Fulbright family, when they first moved to town, that was where they lived first. Then they moved over on the Hill Street, which I found out later, real near to where I actually lived. Of course, they were gone by then, but real near where I used to live on Hill Street. And then they moved up onto Mount Nord. And of course, there's a hill at Hill and Duncan. And of course, again, when I get to the naming of the streets, it's not named Hill because of the hill. But anyway, over in the Hill Duncan Street area, southwest of Evergreen Cemetery, there's that hill as well. That's another one who you could have on the options. And there's what I call Township Hill, which goes west on Township down to College, east down to Gully Park. One of the things I love about that Township Road is if you're going west, you get right at the top before you drop down to College. For just a second, it looks like you might be airborne. You're so high up in the air. It looks like you're in an airplane looking down. Very cool. And then, of course, there's Mount Kessler out there towards Farmington, the Ozarks Smokehouse. That'd be another one. Anyway, Township Hill is, again, my naming convention. So I think that's basically my idea of the 7 hills of Fayetteville and a few more options. I'm sure other people have different versions of it, and I've seen different versions. But I think mine's a fairly decent one. I think I'm confident in at least 5 or 6 of them. So it's a pretty good list. So that's the first one back in my, I plan to do 10 more of these, well, 9 more after this one. So that's, see if I can get this to stop. I always have trouble with it. Anyway, so that's Did You Ever Wonder, episode 20, Fayetteville, Athens of the Ozarks, originally Athens of Arkansas, and then changed to Athens of the Ozarks, built on 7 hills. So I'll be back. My next episode, I plan to do a short one from Mayor Jordan on the history of the old city hospital. And then I'll start in the city street naming conventions and then continue on with different topics. All right, so there you go. There's the first one in the next series, episode 21. Thanks very much for watching. Appreciate your support all this time, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.